Hi everyone, welcome back to Blooming Diaries number 10. I believe this is Blooming Diaries number 10. Alright, but anyway, how is everyone doing? I'm doing really well. It's been a while. A lot has happened since my last Blooming Diaries. This Blooming Diaries will conclude the Blooming Diaries because I have had my little one. And we're not going to end there. We're going to segue into postpartum chronicles. So I'm going to be giving y'all some vlogs discussing my postpartum journey and things of that nature. But yeah, just to keep it kind of short and sweet, because I don't want to stay up here too long. I'm pretty much just relaxing in my car, enjoying this nice, beautiful weather with my little one who is resting on me right now. But before he gets up, yeah, I just wanted to get up here real quick, do my outro for Blooming Diaries, and say, yay, I had my little one. I had a boy. I had him at 38 weeks. And I did not have him naturally as I hoped. I did have a C-section, but it was totally necessary. And so after, I'm not going to get into all the details right now, or too much details. Maybe at a later time I will do another detailed video or something like that, an extended version or something that kind of talks more details. But long story short, it was definitely necessary. When I went into labor and I went to the hospital, first and foremost, I did not birth at the hospital I did not birth with the second hospital that you guys know of, that I kind of like stopped liking so much, and was kind of giving me a hard time, more so like a couple of doctors in the beginning, and then it kind of got into where a few of them was getting on my nerves. But anyway, did not deliver there. I winded up going to another hospital, and with everything that I've been communicating, I'm not going to air out on my Blooming Diaries the different hospitals that I attended during this pregnancy. But I will say this: if you are in Baltimore, Maryland, and you are pregnant or thinking about becoming pregnant, and you are looking to deliver in a hospital and you would like more information, I am definitely open to sharing information in person with you about the hospitals, and even naming names of doctors whom I felt was mistreating me, or had an agenda, just was not respecting my decision, things of that nature. But yeah, so I delivered at another hospital. I did this after doing some researching, doing some reading, talking with my doula, meditating on, and all that kind of stuff. And so the key here is that when we in life, we always want to make informed decisions, right? And so making an informed decision doesn't necessarily always mean or look like that things are going to play out how we may have wanted it to. It looks like this is the best decision based on the information that I've obtained. This is the best decision for my circumstance, or for the circumstance. And so yeah, so I did my research, I did my reading, I did my meditating, and talking with my doula, and I decided last minute to go to another hospital to have my baby. I went in, and I really needed to be checked. So this is prior to having my baby. I went to this hospital prior, just to get a second opinion about what the the second hospital that I was at was saying. So I went there to get their opinions on some things, all that kind of stuff. When I went there, I liked the energy and the vibe of the place. I liked the energy and the vibe of the professionals that I came in contact with that day. So when I went into labor, I went back and I had my son there. I can't speak for everyone at that facility because I didn't meet everyone at that facility. But what I can say is that the professionals that I had in particular were great. And that, along with my birth team that I brought with me, they were great. And even though I was not able to have my son naturally, the process in having my son was still a good experience. I can't look back on the birthing process and say, oh my gosh, this happened and it was so bad and all that kind of stuff. It was still a good experience for me because I was met with a lot of care, a lot of love. And that's important, and that's what's needed. And that's what a woman needs. And I was met with that on both sides. The particular team that I had when I was there for the birthing experience, and for my team that I brought with me. And I'm being specific when I say for the birthing experience because after I had my son, and my son did have to go to the NICU, for the most part, my experience with that was pretty cool, but it wasn't totally cool. And I'll talk a little bit about that, but not gonna go into details. Like I said, maybe at a later time I will do a more detailed video, kind of like highlighting experiences. But yeah, so yeah, had my baby at a different facility. Sorry, I'm pausing because this truck is pulling up beside me. But it looks like they're doing lawn care. But anyway, I'm a baby at a different facility. I did have to have a C-section just because his heart was decelling after every contraction. And what they typically like to see from what was expressed to me is the heart rate, of course, having some decel during the contraction because, you know, the contraction is intense. And then immediately after the contraction is over, the heart rate coming back up. And my son's heart rate was decelling after the contractions. And it was taking some time to come back up. It would come back up, but it was taking some time. So I didn't jump right in on and agree to a C-section. I talked to both of my doulas, and remember, I don't know if you're following me, you know that I expressed that I had two doulas. One was a spiritual surprise. So in previous videos, I remember I don't remember which Blooming Diaries it was, but I remember I expressed my concern, like I had some concern, just because I was, you know, delivering with a new birth team. I didn't have, you know, my mom's an ancestor, my previous midwife's an ancestor. The team that she would bring with her didn't have access to, things of that nature. Well, long story short, I winded up being able to connect with a member from my midwife, Mama Claudia's team, Mama Doris. So I had actually been trying to connect with her, but I was unsuccessful. I tried one more time, and I reached out to her on her social media page, on a post that she had on her page. And I told her who I was, left my number, all that kind of stuff. And she reached out to me. She contacted me. She left a message. I texted her, and then just so happens the the day that I went into the hospital, not when I actually went into labor, but to get a second opinion. And they actually did want to express concern and wanted to keep me that night, but I was not kept. I did not stay. But that same night, Mama Doris contacted me while I was there. And so the entire time that I was there, she and I was in communication through either text message or on the phone, talking to each other, her assisting me, answering any questions I had, giving me questions that I could ask the doctors, because at this time, my actual hired doula was not available. Yeah, she was not available. She had went out of town. And I wasn't sure at that time whether or not I was going to deliver or what have you, but she was not available. But, things worked out where me and Mama Doris linked up that same day. And she was willing to even come up there with me. She had communicated with her daughter, told her daughter that they might need to make a trip to Baltimore and everything. And she did all of this, not being paid, nothing, not me begging her to, nothing, that's just how her heart is. And so I was very grateful, so elated that I was able to connect with her. And from that point on, we have still been in contact, still communicating with each other and all that kind of stuff. So that was my spiritual surprise. That was my second doula during this experience. And it really helped me out tremendously. It really made me feel so safe and so secure. So, yeah, so that came to be. So I forgot how we got on me. I backtracked to let y'all know that about for a reason, but I can't remember right now. But long story short, yeah, had the baby, had a great birthing experience, even though I did not get to birth how I wanted to. But the thing that I really wanted most was for me and my son to be okay. And so, and that happened, that happened. And so I'm grateful for that, what I found so wonderful was so when I was finally admitted, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. I didn't originally agree to the to having the C-section. They wanted to induce me first and foremost, and I was like, no, that's out the question as of right now, because to me I felt as though, like with an induction, the contractions are so much worse, so horrible. And I was just like, if my baby is having these cells and is in distress with the contractions now, like if you induce me, that's my logic, like it's gonna be worse. Like I was like, nah. So anyway, I was talking to Mama. I talked to Mama Doris. My doula was on the way at that point. I was at the hospital with my sister. My partner was on the way. And Mama Doris was asking me some questions. She was giving me some questions to ask the doctors, all that kind of stuff. Eventually, after hearing from myself, my son's heartbeat decel for a couple of hours, about 2 hours. And it wasn't like nothing was done. The doctor, without being forceful and without seeming like she had an agenda, I could tell she was concerned. Like she was genuinely concerned. She kept, coming in, letting me know, the baby's heart rate's still decelerating. We really want to get the baby out of there, all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay. The nurse that I had, along with my doula, would help me turn. Every contraction for about 2 hours, we would turn because the baby's heart rate would go down. And whenever we would turn, that would help it to come up more quickly. But the baby's heart rate is still going down. After hearing this for about 2 hours, I said, you know what, get my baby out of there. Get my baby out of there. I'm I'm going to do the C-section. I told the doctor when she came out, I said, I don't want to do an induction because I don't feel like that is going to be the best option for us, being as though with the contractions I'm having right now, his heart rate is dropping. So if I induce labor and the contractions become stronger and longer, no, that's not going to end well. I said, we'll just do the C-section. So they prepared me for the C-section and everything like that. I did have to get an epidural because they had to numb me from my waist down. I had to be numb to everything. And so everybody was so surprised by how I took the epidural, and because I didn't flinch or cry or anything. And it was like, it was no need. Like I knew what I needed to do. And I knew I needed to be still because I was like, I don't want this epidural to paralyze me. And so, I was very still. I took my mind to a certain place that I go to whenever I'm experiencing tremendous pain. And I did that. I went to that place. They put that long, big needle in my back. And shortly thereafter, I became numb from waist down. And the beautiful nurse that I had, not the first one who I saw when I first got there, because she wasn't my nurse for very long. They were switching shifts, but the one after, she was a Latina lady, I believe. And anyway, I wish I remember her name because she was so sweet and she looked out for me so much. And she knew that I didn't want to do the C-section, but I chose to do it because I needed to get my baby out of there. And before the doctors came in to wheel me away, she says to me and my doula and my sister, she says, let's pray right now. And we all held hands, and my doula led the prayer, and we prayed. And shortly thereafter, they came in, they wheeled me to the operating room, and I chose to have my doula in there because I could only have one person in there. I asked if she felt comfortable with it. She said she did. Her being a professional and a voice for me, one who could advocate for me effectively, being there for me throughout this whole pregnancy, and just knowing what I want, what I didn't want, and being willing to stand on that. I asked her to be the one to be in there with me. And before she came into the operating room, she had to go and get prepared, put on the proper clothes. And so while I was in the operating room, the nurse that I asked the nurse to hold my hand until my doula came in, and to not let my hand go, because I'm gonna be honest, I was scared. I was scared because that's major surgery and you don't know what way it's gonna go. And but I'm like, I have to do this. I can't leave my baby inside of me with his heart rate dropping. Like, that's crazy to me. And so I was scared. I asked the nurse to hold my hand the entire time. She held my hand the entire time till my doula came in. My doula held my hand the entire time. She constantly reiterated to me that I could do this, and I kept reiterating to myself out loud, I can do this, because I was nervous. But I could not feel anything from my waist down, so I didn't feel any pain or anything like that. There were a couple of periods of time from like my chest upward, because I could still feel my chest upward. I would kind of feel kind of like kind of faint or whatever, and I would look over and I would look at my blood pressure. My blood pressure was dropping like into the 50s, and I was getting concerned about that. And I would just say, I can't really feel my arms, and my doula would immediately let them know what I was saying. And this one guy, I don't remember what his particular title was, but he was part of the operating room, the C-section team. He would come over to me and he would have me grab his hands. He would tell me every time I said that. I said it probably about 2 or 3 times. Every time I would say it, he would tell me, grab my hands, and I would grab his hands. And based on how tight I would grab his hands, he would be like, you're good. You still got a lot of strength. Like, we feel your strength. You're good. And that would, put me back at ease when that would happen. But he never felt like, I never sensed like he was getting frustrated with me or anything. I always sensed that reassurance. Another beautiful thing was that one of the doctors that I had, that was, she seemed like she was the lead one in the operating room. Her last name was Martinez. And the reason why that was beautiful to me is because my mother's last name, Martinez, through marriage, right? And so that was like symbolism to me, like my mother's presence, my mother's here with me. Just like, what are the odds? Like, I have a doctor, and not saying a doctor can't be named Martinez, but I'm having this doctor that's a woman, that's her last name is the same as my mother's. And she also in herself was very reassuring. Like, everybody in there was very reassuring. Before we even started the process, them communicating to me, letting me know the process, let me know that they got me, they're gonna do, they're gonna do their best, all that kind of stuff, everything's gonna be all right, all that kind of stuff. So I had a lot of reassurance. I never felt at once like they had this agenda and like they was trying to control things. I felt like just a lot of reassurance and love, which was totally different from the previous hospital that I was at. I constantly felt at that hospital that it was an agenda and it was force, and it was, we want to do it the way we want to do it because this is what we wanted, that type of energy, which it wouldn't have, I sincerely felt like if I had went with that hospital, it would not have ended well for me and or my son. So I left. But yeah, so I had to, I had to have the C-section. It was about, the total process probably was no more than an hour. It's probably like 45 minutes or something like that. No more than an hour. But it was long enough for my sister, because when, I remember coming out of the room and my sister just kind of like being really upset and going off. And I didn't calm her down because, sometimes hospitals need to see that, they need to see that you got people that really care about you. And so, my sister felt like they was taking too long in the operating room and she just wanted to know that I was okay. And so, that was that. And, yeah, so I'm not going to go into too much more of the details. I just wanted to get up here and segue out of Blooming Diaries and let y'all know that I had my baby, my son, and we are doing well. And yeah, and so I hope that this journey that I have been sharing with y'all has been inspirational. The purpose of me sharing this journey was, I just felt compelled to do it since this was my 6th baby and I'm like 40 plus. And, this is, as far as I am concerned, this is my last. And so, yeah, I just wanted to get up here and I just wanted to create like this Blooming Diaries. Got the whole idea and concept to do it. Had never done it before, so I wanted to do it. I also wanted to be inspirational and also share my journey, just because I've not always in my life been a very transparent person, and I've had my reasons for being like that, just being very protective. I mean, I still, in a sense, I'm still very protective of what I share, and to an extent I'm not transparent, but I'm more transparent than I have been in the past, just because when you tell your story, it allows people to gain clarity and understanding of you, right? When people don't know your story and they just see you move in a certain way, because of the lack of knowledge, you can be easily viewed in a certain way. And it's not so much that you need to care so much about how people perceive you. That's not good either. But it helps people put things in perspective, and people to, look and say, oh, I understand your stance. You know what I mean? I understand why you move a certain way, why you operate like that, why you feel this way or that way. And so over the years, I've learned to become a little more transparent. Not completely, because, not everyone deserves every aspect of you. You do have to reserve that for the people that's in your close circle. But yeah, just a little more transparency, because when you tell your story, it brings understanding, it brings clarity, and it also, and it inspires. It inspires those who maybe want to tell their story. Um, it inspires, folks to be stronger and all that kind of stuff. And so all that I do, like, is about inspiration. It's about inspiring folks, and it's about helping folks to not feel alone, um, and even like being a listening ear to folks. Like when folks reach out to me and tell me their story, tell me what they're going through. Um, it helps. It's like all one big circle. You know what I mean? So yeah, the purpose of this was to be transparent, and bring clarity, but also just be inspirational. And so I hope that these blooming diaries were inspirational, and that they brought some smiles to folks, and they also helped folks to look at their journey. Like if you're pregnant and you're going through something, to know that you can overcome, and all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to continue with postpartum chronicles, and we're going to do the same with that. It's about being transparent, it's about being inspirational, and it's about changing lives. And so I hope that you all enjoyed this. Thank you for tuning in and staying with me. I look forward to having fun with y'all in postpartum chronicles. All right, peace.